With the NFL draft all done, I want to look at some players with the best chance to win the Rookie of the Year award on each side of the ball. The Rookie of the Year race is always exciting. Sometimes it's the players we expect, like last year with the top picks, Kyler Murray and Nick Bosa. But sometimes we see players heavily exceed expectations and win the award, such as Dak Prescott. But with all that being said, if you guys like the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and let's hop into it. Now, I want to start this off with offense, and I'm going to break it into 3 categories for the most part. Players with a high chance, players with an okay to decent chance, and unlikely but not impossible. Starting it off with players that I think have a high chance, I think it's pretty clear who sits atop the rest, and that's the #1 pick, Joe Burrow. He was the #1 pick for a reason. And with the possibility that this offense isn't terrible, given the return of AJ Green and pieces to this offensive line, he definitely is the safest bet. Then you've got Justin Herbert, who it appears is walking into a starting position on a team that's got some solid weapons. It would be pretty nice to start your career throwing to Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, and Austin Eckler out of the backfield. I don't have much faith that Herbert is going to exceed expectations early on, but I'm not going to rule it out. Then there's Tua. Obviously, I need to make it clear there's a chance he doesn't even see the field this season. If on the field, we know what he's capable of, and he's going to be in the running. But right now, it's looking like Fitzpatrick has a solid chance at being the starter. And honestly, I think that's the right move for most rookie quarterbacks, and Tua especially, considering his health and the fact that Fitzpatrick is a very serviceable starter. Now, so far, we've only mentioned quarterbacks, but it's pretty likely that the winner is actually going to be a running back. In fact, running backs have brought home this award more than any other position. The only thing with running backs this year is none of them are going to empty backfields. The first back off the board was Clyde Edwards-Helaire going to the Kansas City Chiefs, who I think is going to have a decent role. I just don't know if he's going to have Rookie of the Year tier stats, with Damian Williams also coming out of that backfield. You've got DeAndre Swift, who again, I expect a solid year from, and he was the #1 running back on most people's boards, but he's going to Detroit, who already have their #1 back with Kerryon Johnson. Out of the running backs, I think I'd lean towards Jonathan Taylor the most. He's going to have the chance to run behind one, if not the best offensive lines in the league. But again, he's going to be splitting snaps with both Marlon Mack and Nyheim Hines. The last running back in the mix, in my opinion, and this should be no surprise, is J.K. Dobbins, who was taken by the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, they still have Mark Ingram, but he's getting up there in age, and with the frequency and effectiveness that this offense runs the ball, I could see a pretty big season coming Dobbins' way. It's hard to predict which of the running backs is going to have the biggest opportunity, but I'm pretty confident one of them is going to be in the conversation for this award. Then you've got wide receivers. They don't win the award often, but we've seen it before, including Odell Beckham Jr. in 2014. I think the wide receiver with the best odds is most likely Jerry Jeudy, as he clearly has the talent level, and going to Denver, I think he's going to be a target machine. A name you might hear a lot is CeeDee Lamb, but I just can't see his stats competing with a guy like Jeudy, with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup catching passes from the same quarterback. The first wide receiver off the board was Henry Ruggs, which in the first place made no sense, but while I think he's going to have a high snap count, his impact is going to be from big plays rather than consistency, which is going to hurt him in terms of this specific award. My favorite dark horse for this position is going to be Jalen Reagor. He's an athletic freak and one of my favorite rookies going into next season. I like his chances due to the fact that I believe in his ability, and with how injury-riddled this position was for the Eagles a year ago, I think he could have a bigger than projected role, and I'm going to be looking for him in the late rounds of fantasy drafts. Now we're going to go to the defensive end, which is always harder to predict, but we can use history to narrow down our player pool. We almost never see a safety win the award, so for now, with no top safeties coming into this draft, I'm going to rule that out. We rarely see corners win, so I don't think there's many in contention. The only one really being the 3rd overall pick, Jeffrey Okudah, who's going to be coming in with some high expectations, replacing one of the best defensive backs in the league, Darius Slay. I think the players with the best chance to win this award, and this really shouldn't be too much of a surprise, is Chase Young and Isaiah Simmons. These are probably the 2 most talented players on this end of the football coming into this draft, and both players play positions likely to produce stats, which is typically important for this award. Nick Bosa was the first defensive player off the board a year ago, and we saw his impact in just his rookie season. Chase Young is coming in, projected to put up some comparable stats, and if that's the case, he is definitely going to have a good shot at this award. But right now, I think Isaiah Simmons is probably my favorite with how noticeable I think his impact will be. He plays practically every position on the field and can rack up practically every defensive stat possible. If I'm putting my money on anyone, I think it's going to be him. Now, obviously, there's a lot of guys that can win this. There's Derrick Brown, who I think has a better shot than most players that play his position with his focus at coming at the quarterback. There's a ton of high-level linebackers, which is the most common position to win this award, such as Patrick Queen and Kenneth Murray. But that's the view, guys. These were just my opinions. I wanted to break down kind of the Rookie of the Year situation. As far as my personal picks, I think I made it pretty clear. I think it's going to be Joe Burrow on the offensive side of the ball, and if it's not, I think it's going to be one of those running backs. It's just hard to predict who is going to have the most carries, the most opportunity, and then seize on that opportunity out of that group. And then for the defensive end, I really think it's going to be Isaiah Simmons, and if not, most likely Chase Young. I'm really excited about this rookie class. You've got a lot of skill positions, a lot of talent, but I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, so tell me. And if you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and peace.